Hey everybody, want to welcome you to a brand new episode of Sold Separately. Today we are going to be covering the Zombie Sailor Pinnacle line. We had previously covered the King Kong Bundy. Now we're covering some more of that line, but I can't do it by myself. What's up, Clark?
I am stoked to be here. Man, these zombie sailor figures are nothing but net right now. They're on fire. It's funny because we've been talking a lot of Power Town back in the day. Power Town's excellent. It is really cool to see the figure space, with multiple different companies being major factors. I'm stoked to break some of these down again because they're gorgeous action figures.
So the first one up is Abdullah the Butcher, one of the most controversial people in the history of this business, a Hall of Famer, known for stabbing his opponents with forks, legendary feuds with Bruiser Brody back in the day. Has had a few figures over the years. I believe Jax tackled him. Wrestling Figure Company, I believe, did. But he's never really truly had one of these high end figures, and you could see the detail, just the way the fat lays. He's got the head holding the fork in his mouth, and he's got the fingers wrapped. It's just a really cool figure. They're
This is, in my eyes, the best Abdullah figure ever made. And it's
yes.
really not close. It comes with the fork, the scarring on the forehead.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about it, the body, the scan, all of it is absolutely perfect. And Abdullah is one of my all-time faves. I know he's controversial, but he cracks me up. Everything about it. The famous Mick Foley story about, he rode in the car with him and his wife,
Mm-hmm.
and Abdullah actually held in a fart for 300 miles as not to offend Mick's wife. Is one of my favorite wrestling road stories ever told. Shout out Mick Foley, by the way, obviously, with the recent car accident and everything. But
Yes.
I mean, there's controversy and whatnot, but Abdullah is a legend of the business, and this is, I believe, the best figure ever made of him.
Yes, and these are to remind people, these are of the 6-inch scale. These will be similar to the Jazzware AEW figures and the Mattel WWE figures
Right.
at the same time. I do have one Abdullah story. I did not meet him at a convention, but he was there, and it was just funny to me because I saw him signing autographs for fans, and one of the things he was signing is he taped up a fork and signed the tape on the fork.
That's
And
great.
all I could think to myself is like he's going to a Walmart or a Target and buying boxes of forks. And like
Yeah.
if somebody doesn't know, like, he goes up to the counter, his head's got all the battle scars, and he's buying all these forks that no normal person would have. And they're like, they got to be thinking, well, does he run a restaurant? Is that what these are for? Like, they start thinking that, and they're like, no, these are for me to just sign and sell to fans
Right.
at conventions. So it is wild. I know he's had a number of years in bad health, but he is one of those figures that in the business that is very much responsible for the hardcore style that we still see to this day in different companies.
Him and Bruiser Brody, go back and watch,
Yep.
man. You do your homework. It's crazy
Yeah, and
what
and
they were
speak
able to accomplish.
and speaking of, you had mentioned the Power Town Series One had that unbelievable Bruiser Brody. This Abdullah would go phenomenal with that. Uh,
Yes.
so
Especially if you're going to unbox and display.
yes,
Absolutely a really cool thing you could do there.
and the next one, another controversial figure, which I sort of spoiled because I accidentally hit the forward ahead of time, but the loose cannon Brian Pillman.
Yes.
This is a guy that blurred the lines. And when you think about it, when he launched the loose cannon character, this was before the NWO. This was before that. He was breaking the wall before that, calling Kevin Sullivan the Booker Man, and nobody knew what he was doing because the only person that knew was Bischoff. Like
Yep.
they told nobody. Kevin Sullivan didn't even know what was going on with that. So when you think about it, it's just wild that this person was blurring the lines and fans didn't know what was going on. There's an infamous moment on a WCW pay-per-view where he pops up behind Bobby Heenan and
Yep.
grabs him. And Bobby freaks out because Bobby had a bad neck and thought a fan was attacking him. And like on air on pay-per-view, he's cursing, going, "What the is going on?"
Yeah.
So it's wild. And then, I still think one of the greatest stories of all time is the fact that he convinced Eric Bischoff to give him a legitimate release from WCW. And then he went to ECW and then went to WWF. And Bischoff has always said the plan was for him to come back to WCW. Now, obviously, Gene tragically passed away when he was in WWF. I gotta be honest. I don't think he was going back.
Oh
Um,
no.
I mean, I could be wrong, but
I think the
that
car accident drastically changed things.
yes, it completely shattered his ankle, and he was never really the same performer from his Flying Brian days.
Yeah.
But this character was so unique and so different. I think one of the things we talked about, possibly on a throwback, if I'm not mistaken, because I think we did cover
Yeah.
the loose cannon, was that he had the idea that he was going to streak at a Super Bowl and tie himself to a goalpost on live TV.
Whoops.
This is pre-internet. This is pre all that. And, you know, I don't know how badly that would have landed.
I
Um,
think it might have landed pretty well actually at the time in the 90s, given the era. Like,
I
honestly, as weird as it
I
sounds,
I
that one
don't
might
know
have
if
worked.
WCW or the Time Warner company that owned WCW at the time would have been okay with it. I could be
That's
wrong,
probably fair.
but this figure in question, and finally getting to the figure, the shirt is sort of an homage because he was a horseman. And it's just iconic. This is obviously Brian Pillman has had a number of figures over the years, but there is the attention to detail on this figure.
It's great.
The likeness. It has a gun
The
from the
gun is unbelievable. Pillman's got a gun.
from the infamous Raw segment with Austin, which they got in a lot of trouble with. It has the crutches, which was known for. It's a very cool likeness. He comes with the cane. Even the detail on the cane is unbelievable. It's got the cross on the back of the vest. And then it has the glasses, which they got the
All
actual
time.
company that made it to it was designed by an actual company. Like this
Yes.
is a separate thing
High
because they
tech.
wanted it as accurate as possible. They are screw you sunglasses, as it says, by High Tech made them. But the attention to detail on this figure is unbelievable.
It is. It's
You
one of
know,
the best ones. It's probably the best Pillman I've ever seen.
eh,
No doubt about it.
yeah. Like I said, he's had Jax, Mattel has made him, but I don't think anybody's ever made him to this level. Like this Pinnacle line by Zombie could be what Power Town was going to be, and I'm still holding out hope with Power Town, but there's been significant delays with a lot of
The new
series two
series.
with the
Yeah.
new series. So I'm hoping that they're able to get back on track because I have a few the TNA
No
line
doubt.
on order from them. So I'm hoping that pans out. But this Pinnacle line, which is just went on sale at the end of March, should be a really good line. I have a few of their other figures, the Punk with Larry, the Danhausen, and I've always been happy with the craftsmanship. One of the things I
Yes.
do have to say I respect a lot with Zombie Sailor, he wants things right.
Yeah.
And it's not so he wants to make sure that if there is a delay, it's a delay for a good reason because he wants the figures to be right. He wants the fans to get what they're expecting.
They paid for.
Yes. And that was one of the things the Power Town did with Series 1 when there were
It's
problems.
off the
They
charts.
they they
Stan
they
Hansen,
they
Brody.
ate the cost to get them retooled so that he fixed the issues before they went out to the general public. And you got to have a lot of respect for that. And it takes a lot of guts and it takes a lot of money
Yeah.
to be willing to put that on the line because again, this is all investment. When you invest
Right.
this level of money because you're not retooling, you don't have anything to retool. This is your first time. This is why Mattel and Jazzwares and these other companies and Jacks if you can reuse a torso for somebody else, well, that saves you a little money as opposed to doing a completely new torso like Abdullah the Butcher would have required.
No question.
You know what I mean? So the attention to detail is awesome, and I think this line will succeed because of the attention to detail, and I do think the fans will.
Zombie Sailor's been on fire, man.
Yes,
Let's just say, call a spade there, man. It's
yes,
looking good, and there's no doubt about it. I'm with
yeah.
you.
It's an absolute awesome series. King Kong Bundy's in this one. Obviously, we did cover. There is a Jeff Jarrett, I believe, in this line.
Yes.
Not in this episode, but we will cover him at some point. But I want to thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys again next Friday.